Mr. President,
Senator Lenney,
to debate the bill.
you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So in a time, kind of losing my voice, so hopefully I can get through this. In a time of record inflation, a recession, and what most people think is a looming depression, a coming depression, it's flat out, in my opinion, just wrong to burden Idaho taxpayers with the responsibility and the cost of training a workforce for hand-picked industries in the private sector. Because unlike K through 12 education, which was mentioned, we have no constitutional obligation to do this, especially with the state of K through 12 education. Now, I could talk about how the launch bill is not neutral, how it labels certain industries, if I may use a term from a few years ago, essential and non-essential, and lets the executive branch pick winners and losers, which is both discriminatory and redistributive. But that's not my biggest contention here. My biggest contention with this launch bill is much more philosophical. It's not so much about the what, it's more about the why. And it's this. This type of program is something that's straight out of the Soviet playbook.
This is where you need to be careful, Senator.
Yeah, I'm careful. It's something that's called central planning. This isn't a free market solution. This isn't something that we've typically done before, and I can't help but notice a pattern here that in the past few weeks we keep identifying Idaho problems and we're proposing anything but Idaho solutions. And I would say this is one more of those things, because in a free market economy, the allocation of resources and the production of goods and services are determined by supply and demand, not central planning. So, Senators, keep this brief here as I'm, like I said, losing my voice. I'd contend that House Bill 24 didn't come from the people. In fact, all the messages, not all, the overwhelming majority of messages I'm getting, and if we're all being honest, I would say that you were getting from Idaho citizens, are strongly against this. But you know that, and we've known that since January, haven't we? Because we know where this bill came from. This bill was handed down to us from the executive branch. So to keep it brief, because I know a lot of people have things to say on this, Senators, I believe we have no business doing something like this, especially, like I said, in a time of economic crisis, recession, and a looming depression. Because once we open up this Pandora's box, there's no going back. And with that, I'd ask you to consider who's pushing this, where it came from, and if this is something that your constituents actually want, or if it's something that we as Idahoans and Americans have no business even considering. Thank you.